Welcome to the Regal Needle on YouTube. Today we're going to pierce the veil and demystify your sewing machine. About a decade or so ago, this funny poster made its way around the internet. It was created by April Winchell, who was the founder of Regretsy.com, and I'm going to show the poster probably right here. I had the t-shirt. It made its way around a lot of bloggers, blogs, and for so many of us it really resonated. It was by far one of my favorite t-shirts ever, and I wish I still had it. I know for a lot of folks, the sewing machine ranges from an arcane mechanical beastie to frustrating device of impending doom. There's a reason the bobbin case is called the cryhole, people. I'm here to help you get to know your machine, be able to thread it, and hopefully use it. If you don't already own a machine, don't buy one without watching this first. If you've already purchased one, no worries, we'll walk you through it. First up, for those of you who do not yet own a sewing machine, you really will only ever use a straight stitch and a zigzag stitch, possibly a blind hem stitch. You don't need a machine with 11 jillion different stitches unless you plan on doing yards and yards of fancy decorative stitching. Bonus points if your machine comes with an automatic buttonhole stitch. The other thing that is really nice to have is a variable stitch width, which means that your stitches can go from a standard narrow stitch to wide. That's really nice to have. And needle positioning, where you can move your needle either from the center position to the left or the right. Some machines only go one direction, some machines go both ways. If you have your machine already, let's get started. Some machines have a metal bobbin case that has to be inserted, and some have drop-in bobbins. I have machines with each of those. Before we can wind the bobbin, we need to know what kind you have. Is it a metal bobbin, a class 15 bobbin, or some other kind of bobbin that's specially for your machine? Now that we know what kind of bobbin your machine takes, let's wind it. You can use regular thread in your bobbin if you'll be doing regular sewing. But if you're doing embroidery, you'll need finer, literal bobbin thread. You'll need to wind your arc reactor on the bobbinator, then install it in the cryhole using the astromech droid, which is to say you'll need to wind the bobbin and install it correctly in the bobbin case. Once your bobbin is wound, you'll insert it into your machine. From here, you'll thread your machine. All machines work in basically the same way for threading. Make sure you follow the instructions and procedures for your specific machine. Many machines will have arrows pointing the direction that the thread needs to go in order to thread it correctly. It'll also be listed in your owner's manual, and I highly recommend you keeping your owner's manual close at hand whenever you're sewing. I'm going to demonstrate threading my machine. First, we're going to take the thread and put it on the spinny thing. Then we run it through the horn of Gondor, over the flux capacitor, and through the eye of the needle before being put under the uppy-downy. Which is to say, take your spool of thread, put it on the spool holder, take the free end of the thread and pass it through the machine in the correct sequence, making sure it goes between the tension discs and then finally up through the thread uptake and back down to the needle. Pull the free end to leave enough slack to pass under the presser foot. At this point, we'll lower the needle so that it grabs the bobbin thread, and we pull it up towards us so that both free ends of thread are on top of the sole plate of the machine. Your machine is now threaded. That's the hardest part. Make sure your stitch settings are set properly. Stitch length should be about 3, tension should be around 4, and stitch width should be 0 for a straight stitch or higher for a zigzag. The higher that number for the zigzag stitch, the wider it's going to be. For tension, the lower the number, the looser the stitches will be. Oh, I almost forgot. You're going to need to plug your machine in to power it before you wind a bobbin or try to thread it. Now that your machine is threaded, you're ready to go. Happy sewing! Thanks for sticking around and watching this video. If you like what you see, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you soon!